Matt, a lot to digest from that game. Most importantly, it's 3 points. How do you assess tonight?
Big 3 points. Performance wasn't anywhere near where it needed to be. A few tired bodies, a few tired minds, and we lost our intent quite early in that game. And we were lucky to be ahead. Much better and much improved performance second half in terms of our intent and our personality and our character. Still riddled with mistakes, but better intent, and that's what I've got to praise and scold at the moment. So I understand where some of them are physically and mentally, but it's 3 points.
Start with the main talking point, the second goal. How did you see that one?
It's a foul. We feel sorry for the opposition, but we've had decisions go against us at times, so it happens in football. But in terms of the level of officiating, it probably highlights that, because once he'd made that mistake and everyone knew it was a mistake, he probably didn't favour ourselves in terms of not evening the game up, but giving too many cheap ones for the opposition. So I know how they feel, but we've had that against us.
Obviously, Crawley felt there was wrongdoing there. They showed some impetus, got right back into it before the break.
Well, I said before the game, dangerous team, Craig. You know them better than anyone. Unpredictable, got good players. When they're at their lowest, they're at the most dangerous. And probably Saturday's result put them in a mindset where they've got nothing to lose. Like I say, I was just frustrated with our intent when the ball was close to any of our players in that first half period. We just weren't aggressive enough, tough enough, a little bit flimsy is probably a nice way for me to describe it, in all honesty. And we have to improve that aspect, because a lot of games will look like that, and then all of a sudden there's nerves in our in-possession game, when there hasn't been recently. Really pleased with a performance against Swindon and a relatively good performance against Salford, but the win's there tonight without the performance, so that maybe shows a good sign.
Second half probably had us on edge at times. Crawley probably the better side, but we managed to hold out and grind out.
Yeah, like I say, they had nothing to lose in the second half. They had bodies top end of the pitch. The moments we did get didn't really materialise. We wanted to be aggressive with our shape, so we matched them up to make it simpler for our players, to take any not misunderstandings or any uncertainty out of their own game. And I felt that showed us up a little bit, but they're a dangerous team, and they'll cause some not upsets because they beat teams at our level. They've done it time and time again, and they'll do it in the future as well. We move quickly on to the next.
Similarly to Saturday, I think it was another game where, particularly second half, stop start, a few niggly fouls, referee awarding things. It felt like one of those games where it didn't really flow.
No, but maybe that's the level, that's the league. Let's be honest, the Swindon game was a flowing game, a rhythm game, 2 possession-based teams. Salford probably slightly different, and slightly different again tonight. We can't alter that. You know, we're not a niggly team. We don't make too many fouls. We barely make a tackle at times, but we can't affect let moments and instances in games affect us, and we did in that first half. We started off with too much ball and too much comfort in our game, and all of a sudden, if you've got comfort in your game, that's a dangerous position to be in.
No matter how they come, it's great to see Tim Dieng continuing to score goals.
He was our best player in
the
first half. Took his goal really well. Not only can he head the ball, but he can shift it and finish with I think it was his left foot as well. And he was in the right place at the right time for the second goal. So, you know, we understand what people will say in terms of the headlines. You know, the performance on that second goal aside, I honestly don't care tonight. I've got to now find some energy within that team. We've tried to implement energy tonight, but even then it's a difficult task. We've got to keep implementing this team with energy and a little bit of character.
Was tonight a case of course you always want to play well and win, but perhaps not playing so well, and it doesn't really matter because you've got the win anyway?
Well, we ground it out in the second half. Let's talk frankly in relation to that. We ground out the second half. We did what we needed to do. A lot more to come. We've shown that enough this season, and you know, there was a lot of uncharacteristic moments in that game tonight. I know some of these boys are on empty. The squad is getting stretched with the injuries we've got. We hopefully haven't picked up any more tonight, and hopefully we might have one back going towards the weekend. Personality is a huge word, and I love these you know, some of them are kids. I love the players to bits, but we've got to understand what we're fighting for, and it's not going to be easy, but it's certainly worth fighting for.
You might see this differently because he was right in front of me here in the press box, but I thought Pierce Sweeney had an absolutely excellent game today. Again. I keep saying again and again and again, and I still want more from Pierce. And it's probably took a few seasons worth of battling with him to get him mentally and physically in the right position. He was I had Tim in the first half, but Pierce certainly in terms of leading that back line, and he's been a consistent. And you know, you mentioned the personality. That's a big aspect to Pierce. You know, he can wind you up at times on the training pitch and in and around the training ground, but in terms of a personality, he's there. And even I think it was a moment early on in the second half where he just said, I'm going and I'm still going.
and he probably pressed their right back or right wing back, and he shouldn't do that, but he had to try and force the issue for the team. And we need leaders, we do. We need natural ones, we need unnatural ones, we need people who don't feel it's their position to dig people out at times or encourage people or to change the flow of the game. We constantly need that, and I'm delighted because it's you mentioning Pierce as opposed to myself, and that's a reflection on where his game is.
As we get to the business end of the season, I think it's important that we stay undefeated, especially at home. 7 points in a week is not a bad return.
Good return. You know, you put those 3 games into context. Good return. Contrast in terms of the performances, but you'd take that. You know, but I said that probably before the 3 games privately, and I'm stood here now saying we take that. It gives the environment a little bit of a break. Our fans will need a little bit of break in terms of the home. I was really pleased with them tonight because they could see we weren't great, but they stuck with us and they were nice and noisy and just kept on going. And they've got to appreciate what we are. We're far from perfect. I've said this phrase time and time again. We are far from perfect, but we're trying our hardest, and sometimes we'll fall short. But the manner in which they stuck with us tonight, I was delighted.
And finally, the games don't stop. Next 2 against Oldham aside, fighting down the bottom, and Port Vale aside, who are making their way up to the top. So 2 big away games for us now.
You know, every game's a big game. I went to watch Oldham Carlisle 10 days ago. 8,000 people there. They'll be baying for blood. They'll have nothing to lose in terms of their league position. Similar to Crawley, got some good players, got an experienced manager who's really picked them up and got them going as a football club. It'll take a little bit out of us in terms of the journey, but we'll just need a few days to rest and recuperate. And there might be a couple I don't want to see on Thursday, which is strange because you've got to prepare for a game. But to allow their mental capacity just to absorb something other than football, because it seemed to be too much for some of them, a bigger weight on their shoulders than it needed to be tonight. I might give some of them Thursday off.
Great stuff, Matt. Thank you.